Hello guys, welcome back to this tutorial. In the previous tutorial, we did an example related to a unit test and how to write your test classes and how to write your test methods and stuff like that. And also we have talked about the code coverage. Now in this tutorial, we are going to still continue talking about the test, but the unit test and how to write the Apex test and stuff. Another point that I wanted to bring across the table here is that whenever you are writing your test classes or test methods, try to achieve the highest code coverage possible. Do not just aim for 75% code coverage because that is the minimum requirement in order to deploy the code to your production. You should not aim for that. You should aim for that all your code is covered like you have covered in every scenario that you can. It's possible so that the code does not break in the production. Just because you have covered 75% code coverage, that doesn't mean your code is error free because you have not tested each and every scenario. So you have to make sure that you have to aim for 100%. That way the code goes to the production would be kind of error free. So you won't have nightmares in production, right? So do not just aim for 75% coverage just because you have to use that coverage in order to deploy the code to the production because that's the minimum requirement. Do not do that. You make sure that every line of your code is covered. Do not have red lines in your code. What do I mean by red lines? I will explain to you with the help of an example here. So let's go ahead and take an example. So let's create the class, Apex class. We can name this class as task utility. Utility. Okay. So we have made the class task utility. The class name is task utility. And inside of this task utility, I have a method. I am going to create a static method, public static, and then this method returns a type of string, and here we are checking the priority of the task. It is the high priority or it is a low priority. What is the priority of the task? And this method is expecting a string and the variable, let's say we call it as lead country. If the lead country is US, then that means the task is at the highest priority. And if it is not, then it is a normal priority task. So this is what we are going to return. Okay, so first of all, what we are going to do is we will check if the string is blank, means there is some value present in lead country. Is blank, and you can copy from this lead country. Lead country variable, and then we want to make sure that if it is blank, if there is nothing here provided, or if the lead country is not a code, we are looking for a code. If they do not have a code or they have something else, and code with usually of 2 digits, if it is more than 2, That means what we are going to do is L greater than 2. Then in that case, we are going to return null. Return null. If you are not understanding, just bear with me a couple more minutes. So we are checking for this variable lead country. So what will happen is we will be passing something like, let's take the marker. We will be passing like get task and we will pass US. US means this is the value for the lead country. So we are checking, hey, if this lead country blank, no. Or is this greater than 2? No, we have only 2 digits, so it's not. So it's not going to coming inside this if block. The condition will not meet. If this lead country is US, then what will happen? The priority of the task would be what? It would be equals to high priority. So here we are creating a variable called task priority, and if the lead country, so we are checking here if the lead country is equals to US, if the lead belongs to US, then the task would be of high priority. Okay, so this is what would be the value would be, it would be equals to high. Now the next thing is otherwise, if it is not, if it is something else, if it is a different country rather than US, then in that case, else the value for this task priority would be equals to normal. Task priority normal. So this is what we will do. And then after that, we are going to just return this variable. So we are going to return the task priority. So this is what our Apex class is going to do. So what we have done is we have created an Apex class. The name of the class is task utility. And inside of this task utility, we have a method called get task priority, and it takes in one parameter or if a type string, and it returns you a string as well. So in the first thing, what we are checking is, hey, if the lead country is blank, means nothing coming in. We are not passing any value. In that case, or if the code that you are passing, if the country you are passing is more than 2 characters or more than 2 letters, then in that case, you are going to return null. Then other thing what we are doing is if the lead country is equals to US, if this is the US, then what will happen is that we have created this variable. We have defined a variable called task priority. And the case if the lead country is equal to US, the task priority would be high. Otherwise, it's going to be a normal one. We have done one part of the question. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a test class. So first thing is file new, and here I'm going to go ahead and write a test class, and I will call this as task utility. As I told you, it should be equals to whatever the class name is, and just use the keyword test at the end. Task utility test. It's a good practice. Since it is a test class, we have to use this annotation called is test. So this is the annotation that we have to use. And then inside of this, I am going to write a simple method is test in order to test for here static void, and which method I am testing. I am testing this get task priority method. So task priority is the name of the method. So I will say that test get task priority. So this is the method that I'm going to test. And inside of this method, what I'm going to do is so I'm going to say task utility. So first thing I am going to say task utility dot of get task priority lead country. So I will pass, let's say AU Australia. Now this method I am going to return you a type string. So what is going to return? I will store in this variable called priority. Okay, so this is the variable that I am going to store. Now here I am going to check what I am expecting. According to the code, it should return out to be as normal. So expected value should be normal. Now let's see what the value is. System dot assert equals. So what I am expecting? I am expecting the value to be normal. This is what I am expecting. Now let's see what the actual value is. So I'm going ahead and see the what is the actual value is. So now if I go ahead and hit the save button, and let's go ahead and test a new run. Test a new run. So I'm going to test for task utility test. So this is the name of the class and this is the method that I'm testing. So run. So now if you see here, what happens here that it looks green, everything is normal, that it is green. But if you look here, the code coverage is 75%. But yeah, it is ready to deploy to production. But you will see here that in your test class, you have not covered all these scenarios. All you covered is this normal scenario. What about this, the case when it is high? What about the case when it is null, right? So you have, even though you have covered 75% code coverage, you are still good to deploy, but it is not a best practice because your code is still, there are certain lines in your code which are in red, means you have not written any test case in order to cover these two scenarios. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add additional method in order to cover these two things which are in red. How about if the country is US? It should come out to be high, right? So here what I am going to do is I am going ahead and create another test method, and it's going to be static void and test the task high priority. So we have test for the normal. So we are going to check for the high priority now. And what I'm going to do is same exact thing. But here what I'm going to do is, in this case, the parameter that I'm going to pass would be US. So according to the code that I have written, I am expecting it to be high. And let's see if the value it comes out to be high or not. So this is what I am checking. If I am expecting that if the country code or if the lead country is US, then in that case, the priority should be high. So let's go ahead and do a test. Test a new run. This is the class that I'm going to run. This is the two methods. And then hit the run button. So now you will see that everything is green, both the test cases are successful, nothing is in red. And now if you look at it, it is 87%. You still not haven't covered everything. You now have covered the higher scenario as well. You have already covered the normal scenario. Only thing that we haven't covered is this null. So let's go ahead and write another test method in order to check for this in the null scenario as well. So here I am going to go ahead and create another method, static void. And here I am going to test for task priority. Task priority invalid means if it comes out to be null or something invalid. So this is the name of the method. And here the parameter would be, let's copy from here. The parameter would be if you're passing something like India. It means if you are not giving the two-letter code, and if it is not even blank, it is not even two-letter code. So in this case, what will happen is it should return you the. So how will you check for this null? So you just have to say that, hey, I am expecting the value to be null. So now if I go ahead and do a new run, let's select the class and these three methods. And then if you go ahead and let's go ahead, then test a new run. Go to this class, select all these methods, and then do a run. Yeah, you can see here is the green tick. Means it is working the way we are expected. And here the task utilities, now it becomes 100%. And now if you go back, you will see nothing is in red. Means you have covered every scenario possible. This is when you should put your code to production, according to me. Yeah, you just need 75%, but that can result into lot of errors in production. But if you have 100%, where you have every line covered. You have tested for every single line here. That is the time you should deploy to production, not just deploy. You don't just aim for 75% coverage, just you need that to in order to deploy the code. So first thing is we have created a class called task utility, and inside this class we have created this static method, and the name of the method is get task priority, and it tells you what is the priority for the task based upon the country. So if the country you are mentioning nothing, or if you are not providing the country code, then in that case what will happen is it is going to return you null. Otherwise what we did is we have created a string variable, and if the lead country is US, then the priority of the task variable will become high. Otherwise it will be normal, and then we are returning this value. Then in my test class, I have created 3 different methods in order to check for each of the scenarios. In the first method, I am passing my parameter as AU, which is other than US. So in this case, the task priority should be normal. That is what I am expecting. And I am checking if it is equals to my expectation. So in the second scenario, I have passed a different parameter, and the parameter is US. So in this case, I am expecting the task priority should be high, and I'm checking if it is right. In the third scenario, if you let's go ahead and instead of India, let's put something random. It's not even the country code, right? So in this case, it should come out to be null, because this is what I am expecting. If you are entering anything more than 2 digits or 2 characters, in that case, the priority should comes out to be null. The result should be null. It should return you null. Then that's what we are checking. So everything is working fine the way we expected. We have finally did 100% code coverage, and we have written all the test cases. And let's do another example in order to write your how to write your test class. So I have covered 2 different examples to explain to you what is a test class and how to write a test class, what is a test method, and how to test your code. So I hope with this you get a good understanding. So let's meet in the next tutorial. Till then, have a good day. Bye.